We don't believe that politicians should pursue on that only one-sided view of the Armenian allegations and suppress Turkish American side of view.
You know, the system that we are in is, till proven guilty, people are innocent.
We're not saying that people didn't suffer. My people suffered. Why is it that their side of the story is always heard and not my people? If your mother or father died and I said to you, well, your pain doesn't matter, how would you feel?
Right here. We want Americans to believe in the truth. That's what we want.
I was up in Connecticut about 2 years ago. A 14-year-old girl behind the counter she asked me what language I was speaking. And this 14-year-old girl, when she found out that I was speaking Turkish, she vehemently came out with such passion of hate because I was a Turk. That's what's going on.
You see, when you're silent, people who can speak loud, they're right or wrong, their voice are heard.
Well, I'm a master's student at NYU Global Affairs, and every day in class I see Armenian students making false accusations about the Turkish government for something that happened in 1915 to both sides.
Armenians were, at that time, Ottoman citizens. Turkish citizens also were Ottoman citizens. So, you have to understand that there are certain things happen in the past. There were a lot of Turks were killed by Armenians.
It was a tragedy for both sides, and for it to be internationally recognized as something that only happens to Armenian victims is really unfair.
It's a complicated issue. It needs a lot of homework on the subject is definitely needed, and that is exactly what we're here to say, is that both sides should really sit down and really analyze the situation instead of throwing hate and passing on hate to the next generation.
They are creating a generation that will be open for all kind of terrorism. And this, again, I'm not a psychologist, either a doctor, but you don't need to be a rocket scientist for this. You can see it.
All our diplomats were murdered because they were Turks. That was the policy of the Armenians over the last 30, 40 years, killing diplomats. Today, their policy is to pass resolutions in various states and governments stopping me in telling my side of the story. What happened to freedom of speech?
What happened with PBS and what happens with other media? The media is not really presenting the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to their readers and viewers. Armenians try to bring the issue to the political side, other than leaving it to the historians to decide if there was a genocide or not.
The resolution on the floor is 106 House and Senate resolutions. Before the first change was calling for so-called Armenian genocide by Turks. But some people don't realize that this is a historical, not fact, but historical event. And politicians has nothing to do with the history.
If I was a politician and if I had 250,000 Armenians living in my district, who am I going to listen to? The people who are going to give me votes, or the people who maybe have no more than 5,000 in their community?
Armenian people wanted to compare themselves to the Jewish survivors of the Holocaust, because they see that the Jewish populations got reparations from the German government, and that's what the Armenians want, and that's really unfortunate because it's not fair. They can't compare themselves to the Jewish victims.
So there is no genocide. There was a policy of removing a particular group, in this particular case the Armenians, away from war zones for national security purposes. The imperialist powers were looking for allies inside of Ottoman Turkey. They were able to get a particular ethnic group in aligning them with the imperialist powers to carve up the Ottoman Empire, which is today's Republic of Turkey. And the Armenians at the time aligned themselves with the invading Russians, promising the Armenian ethnic group a piece of the Republic, well, at the time the Ottoman Empire, a piece of land. That was the objective. And that's how they were able to get the Armenians on their side to attack.
Well, yes, there is a crime that's being committed on those Jews, but it is not by Turks, but Armenians.
Just think for now. Here in the United States, we have a fight against terrorism, right? We have Al-Qaeda. Just think, for example, if you have a huge, I don't want to use the Arabic community, but let's say a particular group in the Arabic community aligns themselves in helping Al-Qaeda. What would the United States do? Would they not round them up and get them out of sensitive areas to protect the national security of a country?
Nobody's saying that there was a massacre on both sides. The Turkish government wants a proof of this so-called genocide for it to be so internationally argued for.
But Turkish government opened their archives for that one, for all scientists, historians to look through. Russians are open now, but only one is not open, Armenians. Now, the archives with British archives are open, and there are a lot of things that is showing Turks are not even guilty, but they are the victims of this so-called genocide.
Professor Gunter Levy said, the policy of Ottoman Turkey of removing the threat of a pocketed area of Armenians from Anatolia does not justify and qualify to be a genocide. He also states people who suffered needs to be remembered. Yes, that's what we say. My people and their people.
In Switzerland and France, it's now, I believe, a crime to say the genocide didn't happen.
There is no genocide.
War is hell. Look in Korea. Look in Iraq today. Innocent people die. Why? Because there's war. War is not good. It's hell. At the time, there was World War I. Innocent are going to die. My people, my grandfather died in Ottoman Turkey.
This happened 100 years ago, but 10, 15 years ago, Armenians committed a bigger crime. They killed, in Nagorno-Karabakh, they killed hundreds of innocent children, women. Nobody talks about those things for some reason.
I am from Azerbaijan. My Azerbaijan territory, 20% territory, occupied by Armenians. 1 million people is refugee. Armenians making genocide other nationalities. And this century, twice, Armenians attacked Azerbaijan, 1920, 1992. Twice killed Azerbaijani Turkish people.
And in America, there's a saying, innocent until proven guilty. And I believe that's what Turkey is, innocent until proven guilty.